Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri. On today's show, we will meet Dr. Chaitrali Gundawar, a pediatric orthopedic surgeon who is passionate about her professional work whilst being equally committed to her me time moments. This includes her unabashed love for cooking, dancing, and being surrounded with friends, be it in person or online. Cooking helps me unwind from the most hectic workday, and dancing adds flavor to this joy, she says. Welcome, Chitrali, to this episode of Wings Podcast.
Hi, Milind Uncle. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such a pleasure. And to give you all a brief, Milind Uncle, I know him right from my school days because I was good friends with Rahul. And we are in touch. Once in a while we do have a talk. But I used to keep coming to Rahul's house. We used to make, Auntie used to cook food for us. I remember Rahul playing the guitar a lot. And also in particular, I remember how both of you used to go over the weekend to your farmhouse. I think you still do that. So I used to envy that as a child. So I'll tell you why. Because my parents are full-time working. So over the weekend, I used to barely get to see them. So it used to really, I used to feel very happy that Rahul can spend so much time with his parents over the weekend. So this is like the fondest memory I have with your family.
And Chaitrali, my first memory of you is, I don't know, it was Rahul's birthday, probably 5th, 6th, no, maybe 7th or 8th birthday. I don't remember. You had come home along with all of his friends, and in all the fun that we had that evening, we played a lot of songs and we played some games and all that stuff. And there is this one particular song from Dil Chahta Hai, on which all of you danced like anything. And that song, I remember now, Koi kahe kehta rahe, humko bamana da da da. And my goodness, the way, Chaitrali, you were dancing on that song, you were hardly what, 3 feet something, or just around 4 feet, and you guys were having fun. That's of course, my very first memory of you. And I have of course followed your progress further, and born to some amazing doctor parents. You also ended up choosing the same line, which is not a surprise for me, but you went through the grind of medical education, which I know it's not easy, it's as it might sound, but you also ended up choosing a specialization of orthopedics, and there's something called pediatric orthopedics, as I read in your introduction. So I know pediatrics, something to do with kids, orthopedics, something to do with probably broken bones and all that stuff. But then this specialization of bringing these two together, why don't we begin our conversation on that note?
So to begin with, orthopedic surgery, it is called the field is called orthopedic surgery. And orthopedic surgery traditionally was a very physically demanding specialty that had and has the lowest percentage and the share of female surgeons, specialty wise and all over the world. So orthopedics has, like you rightly said, get to do with the bones, muscles, joints, and traditionally adults. But of course, the adult orthopedic surgeons also see the pediatric. But as the day and age has progressed, we have subspecialized ourselves into particular fields which look after knees. Like there is a knee specialist, there's a shoulder specialist, or there's a specialist who does knee replacements, hip replacements. Then there is someone who does scopies. And then there is me who does pediatric orthopedics. So we look mainly into children. So any child right from newborn to 18 years comes under our field. And we basically evaluate the musculoskeletal system of the child, and also the congenital abnormalities which children have and which we are able to handle other than the physicians. So all these patients come to us. And orthopedic surgery has the most hard-working lot, I must say. And if you have heard, I think a good surgeon should have an eagle's eye, a lion's heart, an ox's stamina, uh, a camel's bladder, and in your truly humbly opinion, which I am very happy, a very, very understanding family. So as a female, it is pretty difficult to, have the whole lot. And like I said, traditionally they didn't do, females didn't take up, but currently I'm proud to say 380 women in India have taken up orthopedic surgery, and many more are yet to come. So I'm very proud of that. And yeah, we are at par with men.
Tell me, Chaitrali, now that you say that this percentage of practicing women orthopedic surgeon being so low, I wonder how you were being received by your classmates in college when you were doing your orthopedics.
Yeah, so in a batch of 5 postgraduate students, I was the only girl. And amongst the 8 orthopedic surgeons consultant in my hospital, I was the only girl. So if I do go for a conference or if I do attend a meeting, I am the single or maybe another girl who will be sitting amongst 30 men. So even outside the orthopedic field, I am the first question any other doctor would ask, why did you choose an orthopedic as your career? So this question normally wouldn't be asked to a boy.
Correct.
But they do ask girl, right? So I wouldn't blame anyone for that, because traditionally it was a physically demanding branch. Hence, females didn't choose it. But now that the technology has amped up and we are, doing so well, we don't actually need that physical strength.
Correct.
So I don't think it does come in our way. No one differentiated me, because as a faculty, everyone was very, very cooperative, helped me out if I couldn't do some things as much as a boy could do. So it went pretty well. My orthopedic surgery completed over the period of 2 years, and then I completed my senior residency. Yeah, so about pediatric orthopedics. So I have completed my one fellowship in pediatric orthopedics, and I'm currently pursuing my second.
I think we live in a day and age, Chaitrali, correct me if I'm wrong, where gender disparities at professional work is fading away. I think in many professions, women are at par and even probably better than men. So I guess that's going away in that case, and doesn't matter who it is, as long as an orthopedic surgeon and a doctor, you tick all those boxes of those things you talked about. The doctor has to be, I could only remember the camel's bladder and so many other things. But that was very funny. And
Yes.
Any specific case where which challenged you and which also made you proud?
To talk of special cases, I deal with every child is special. Every child is so precious to their parent that even the minutest trauma, even the smallest scratch, they are so possessive. So you wouldn't think twice about yourself, but you would always think about your child first. And I see that, especially the one child concept which has come in India.
Correct.
The one precious child. Yeah. So I wouldn't call any special case, because every case is very important. Even the smallest of the trauma in a child, as the children's bones are growing, it is managed differently than an adult bone, right? So a smallest trauma can cause a huge deformity in a growing child. So we really can't cater to big traumas or small traumas. It is like we deal with minute things like how the child walks. If he's walking in a wrong fashion, then has something to do with the hip, something to do with the foot. So I wouldn't say, I would say every case is challenging, because you need to think about what exactly is going on. And it's so difficult because the child can't express. Whatever the mother sees will tell you as a history. But the child wouldn't be able to express. Either if it is a neonate, the baby's cry. So we are the ones who have to find out exactly what's happening with the body, with all the tests we have, the radiology, etc. That is coming to the core. But all in, traumatic event, yes. I have had kids who've fallen off the tractors in the villages. We see many cases where the hand goes into the sugarcane, the churner. Those are pretty bad. And of course, kids attempting to ride bikes. That's such a traumatic thing to even hear. And they lose their balance and road traffic accidents. So these are just some extreme cases.
So what does a good day at work look like for Chaitrali, where at the end of the day, whatever time of the day it ends, you feel, I think I'm happy with what happened today?
A good day will comprise of me getting up in the morning, having my cup of tea. That is so important to me. Then I will be rejoiced, refreshed, and I will go to take my rounds to see my patients which are already admitted in the ward, to have a follow-up of what has been happening to them previously, what's going on, what is going to be planned ahead. One highlight of the day has to be a surgery and the OT time. Let it be any case, a major case. There are major and minor cases. There are some procedures which we do in OPD basis, so under sedation or just a local anesthesia. So any kind of procedure. And by the end of the day, it is interacting with my children. You have to be so interactive with them. You have to be so, you have to get to their level and try to take out whatever they're trying to say. All the children from 5 to 10, to get them out and get them to actually what they are feeling, hurt, pain. There's difference between the two also. So, and by the end of the day, I think I'll be satisfied if each of my patient is happy. That's all that matters to me. And or maybe I am in the process of making them happier.
Irrespective of the age of the patients, of course, with kids that you're working with, it becomes especially more important that you have to be emotionally very sensitive to their pain and suffering. Yet at the same time, as a doctor, I wonder, you can't also get trapped in those emotional issues, right? I mean, you have to be with them and yet away from them. I wonder if that plays out for you.
Yeah, very tactfully we have to do that, right? So if you think the mother says that he's not walking right, I will just tell him that go take a round in the hospital, go find that thing which I'll fetch. So when he's walking, when she's walking, I'll see the way he walks. So you have to literally stoop down to the level that if I was a child, and then once they get onto their thing, then you start evaluating and then you think what are the possibilities. So pediatric is a difficult branch, but I think with my talkative and communication skills, I am getting to it. I'm getting to know children better.
No, I know that you are a chatterbox, Chaitrali, because that's how I have experienced you uh, in your kiddo days when you used to come home and play with Rahul, and we would have a lot of fun together. I know that, but I'll come to that a little later. But want to hear from you, Chaitrali, that we all, as humanity, came out of the pandemic, which was new to just about everybody, not ordinary people. But I guess it was very, very different and probably extremely stressful for doctors like you. What I was reading, at least in those days, that most surgeries were stopped and only critical stuff were attended to in that case. But most doctors were assigned to what, at least in the press, I used to read called COVID duties. Did that happen to you as well?
Oh, definitely. So I was in doing my final year orthopedic when the pandemic hit. I was all ready for my last 6 months to get as many surgeries, as many as patients, orthopedic patients I could see. And when the pandemic hit, we were all struck, of course. And they expected each and every person in the hospital to do the duties, the COVID duties, what we call. Now, the COVID duties not only were in the ICU or the ward, it started right when the patient entered the hospital. We had a screening protocol. So we were made to do screening duties. We were made to sit in the OPDs, the COVID OPD, and of course the ICUs and the critical care. So I distinctly remember this one incident which really, it just got me to my lowest, I think, till now, what I have faced in the past, how many, 12 years of my medical school. So it was one night. I think it was the end of the first wave, in June, May, June. And it started to come down, but still, of course, there were many critical patients, and we were as clueless as every other doctor were. We were trying to figure out ourselves as to what is to be done. And I, as an orthopedic surgeon, was not trained to be a physician in my last 3 years. Of course, basic medical school was being taught, but skills like intubation or the critical perm cath, or these small things which are done ideally by a physician, were expected to be done by us. And this one night, there was I came to the duty at 8 p.m. And as soon as so we used to take overs from the previously working doctors when their shift ends. So he told me that there are 2 deaths in the ward, and you need to start filling the death forms. So I was doing that. I was helping him, and just about finishing those 2 forms, I went to take the round to see how my patients were doing. To half of them I couldn't see, and next half an hour I got to know there was one death. When I was attending the death, the patient besides my patient went desaturated. That means he was going down. His values were reducing. And my colleagues came. They were a team, but we were so short of hands that attending one patient, one doctor was difficult. The one patient, one doctor ratio was also getting difficult to be maintained. And by the end of the night, I had seen 7 deaths
My
in
goodness.
one after.
My goodness.
So 7 deaths, I think, can strike each and every person. Let it be a doctor, let it be a layman. I think it does hit you somewhere. And I think in the morning, I called up my mother, and I was in tears. I'm like, what is happening? And I'm not able to do anything about it. So that one vivid night did change me, and it just gave a perspective to life, that live the moment. Like, you really don't know what's going to come ahead of you, and you should really cherish each and everything which is going on in your current life. Yeah, and I still get tears when I narrate this or tell anyone this.
And you are never prepared or trained for anything like this, right?
No, not at all. We are trained mentally to face such situations, but something so extreme is very difficult to be anticipated by anyone.
No, I mean, I can only imagine what would have happened if I could imagine in myself in your position, that you are filling up a death form with one, person who just unfortunately passed away in front of you. And the person next to that patient is choking and going down, and you know where the whole journey is going. It's sad and traumatic, but I'm glad, at least and that was, of course, pandemic and COVID, and it's very, very unfortunate that we all collectively had to go through it. As individuals will probably be, I was only reading in papers and probably seeing on television, but I can't even imagine what must be happening to you guys. So salute to you, Chaitrali, for not only having the guts and courage to see through those crazy moments. Yet we all clapped for all of you when the Prime Minister of the country asked us to do that on that particular one night at that particular time. And in our little way, we just clapped for all of you. But coming back to the line that I read in your introduction, which is, it says that cooking helps me unwind from the most hectic workday, and dancing adds flavor to this joy.
Totally. So by chance, if I do get done early in a particular day, while coming back, I will go to the fanciest grocery store which is available, and pick up the fanciest items or probably the basic ones and try to convert them into fancy ones. When I get back home, I'll put down my bag and get into my pajamas, put on some really good music and start cooking. So on the way back home, I listen to YouTube music, usually any kind of music. But then that particular day, I know I have to cook something, so I'll be hearing different recipes of the same food which I want to make. So I will rehearse and I will think, this recipe and this recipe should combine, and let's try doing this. So I give it a good thought, and then I come prepare my dish. And while preparing the dish, I would love to listen to music, coffee in my hand, dance around. So that is my me time. That one evening, if I get in out of the 7 days cooking, dancing, and eating, I'm done for the week. I'll be the happiest. And of course, if a friend is to join me, but yeah, that also does give me a lot of joy.
We met very recently at the Dorabji supermarket store, and it was a chance meeting. Asha and I were there. We were, I think, picking up some beer or something. I don't know what. Asha was to pick up some other stuff, and we, Asha just started running from the aisle, and she said, "Milind, come here, come here. You know who's there here?" I said, "Who?" I said, "Chaitrali is here." I said, "Okay, wow." And then I saw you and your brother were there. What did you pick up that evening? I never asked you then. And then did you end up making something that evening?
Yes, I think we did make up some noodles, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, some chicken Szechuan noodles, and of course ice cream I picked up. Yeah, he was just about to leave, my brother. So my brother is currently doing his master's in computer science at New York. I had seen him after 1.5 years. So though I had barely 5 days with him just before I leave for my next fellowship. So I was spending each and every minute with him. I didn't allow him to go out with his friends, nothing. Whole time you have to be with me. So yeah, so we had planned the Sunday evening. I think it was the last Sunday evening, and I was supposed to leave the next day. So
yes,
yeah.
I remember that. But tell me, now that you mentioned about your brother, and I was very happy to meet him and shake hands with him. How was it like growing up with him as siblings? And what sort of atmosphere was there at home between the four of you?
My parents, both being doctors, busy bees of all times. My father, extremely hardworking. Of course, I think I've got it from him.
Yes.
And even Sundays used to be working for him. He used to be working since morning till the evening. And our Sunday evening used to be going out and having food. So that was our family time. We didn't meet for lunch. We didn't, sometimes till they came back home, we used to fall asleep. So that one Sunday evening used to be so looking forward to. And my dad, same like me, loves food, or a movie. He loves movies too. So we used to catch a movie and go out and have food, try new food, cuisines. Yeah, so as siblings, of course, we used to fight a lot. Him being the young, troubled me so much, kept spying on me, just like the younger siblings do. Always wanted to know what gossip was going on between my friends. Whenever we used to have those landlines now, and I used to face the wall while talking. He used to come slowly behind me, and just come close near to my ears, and he used to catch every bit, and I used to not even realize that he's standing right behind me, hearing what I'm talking with my friend. Yeah, so he was very naughty as a kid. But over the years, I think our bond grew better when he became a bit mature, and I was quite away for 2 years hostel. Then during MBBS, so when I came back after MBBS, we started spending more time. He had matured up as a gentleman that he is now. So yes, our bond is extremely special.
Yes, he's not only a gentleman, but he's a tall gentleman. I saw him,
Oh yeah.
and though he is younger to you, he was like overshadowing and overlooking at you.
Oh,
But
yes.
in addition to family being so mattering so much to you, friends are another world where Chaitrali, loses herself.
Yeah, totally. My friends are my world, and my mom hates me for that. Marathi, I'm sorry, I'm using a Marathi line here, but सारखी मित्रांसोबत फिरायचं असतं हिला. That's all she kept. That means that all the time, whenever she gets time, she has to go out with her friends. And she also knows that every friend of mine, my parents know each and every friend of mine. Let it be a boy, let it be a girl. They have always come at home,
Correct.
spend time with me. They have gone to their siblings' wedding. So it's like it goes on. And they are so important to me. Every friend, I think, right from the society where I used to play down, and when we were 2 3 years old, since then I have had so many. I am in constant touch with each of them almost. And some of the close ones, I do make an effort to actually take out time, meet. We have had trips together. Friends are everything to me. I think that's about it. And of course, food, like I said, we love going out, partying, going, trying new food. So thankfully, my friends are also like me. They also like to eat. Not only my friends, my husband. So I am so lucky that my husband is a foodie. And I think after our marriage, so ours was an arranged marriage. It was a COVID wedding,
Oh, wow.
and we hadn't. Yeah, so it was a pretty traditional wedding marriage. I'm sorry. His parents came to see my parents. We had this formal gathering, and within a month, the it was fixed. The wedding was fixed, and then COVID hit. So we didn't meet for the next 9 months.
Oh, my
Yeah.
goodness.
So before our marriage, we met once. We had one dinner together. That's about it. So I after my marriage, it was pretty tough, to be honest. But he was so supportive, and the over 1 year. So I after our marriage, we stayed together for a year, and now he is currently doing his nephrology in Kochi. So it is a long distance.
Mm.
But in that 1 year, the amount of food we've cooked, the places we've traveled, and the connection we've made, I think our honeymoon lasted for a year. It was not just those 10 days.
Wow, wow.
So, yeah, he has been such a good friend to me. And I think friend is a word I would like to put here
No doubt
again.
about it. No doubt. But then how did you manage those 9 months of lambi judai when you decided to
Great.
get married and you were not, you couldn't meet because of COVID? And now when he's pursuing his master's in nephrology in Kochi,
Yes.
you are in Mumbai,
Yeah.
and you are married now. What's the secret sauce?
During the 1 year of our just after our marriage was decided, he was on COVID duty. I was in COVID duty. So whenever he was on duty, I used to be sleeping. Whenever I was on duty, he used to be sleeping and taking his nap. So even then, we barely talked. I think those few parameters which you're supposed to know before you get married, those 10 points, that's all I knew about him.
Mm.
And but there was a gut that this is going to work out, this might work out. So that's the gut feeling I hooked onto, and got into it. And even now, where I don't pick up my calls because I'm in the middle of something, he doesn't pick up my calls. But we know that we have that level of understanding and maturity, so that keeps us on. That by the end of this, just one call will be enough for us. Of course, we do miss each other, miss going out, and the Instagram messages are only about food. So you need to go to Kochi here. He tells me you have to go to Mumbai here. We keep sending each other, ki, "Aaj hai we ate this today," or "I'm going to make this today." It's about that.
Chaitrali, knowing you, I'm actually tempted to play a fun game with you right now if you're up for it.
Oh, that's come as a surprise. But yeah, go ahead. Let's do
So
this.
it's, you probably know this already. It's this game called word association. So I'm going to say a few words, 7 words
Mm-hmm.
to be very precise.
Okay.
And I would want you to instinctively react to the first thing that comes on your mind when I say those words one after the other. You could react by saying one word, or you could react by saying a line, or you could even react with an image or a picture of or a symbol of anything. I leave it to you.
Sure. This sounds like the buzzer round of Coffee with Karan. So let's do this Coffee with Milind uncle.
Love to get compared with Mr. Karan Johar. But okay, are you ready?
Yeah, shoot.
7 words, 7 responses. The first word is orthopedics.
Dedication, hard work, and passion.
Surgery.
Long-standing hours.
Dance.
Ganpati festivals. That's just because I used to dance each and every year at the Ganpati festival, which used to happen in my society. And I competed. I always came first.
Wow. Why am I not surprised on that note, Chaitrali, that you always came first? You were the best dancer as a kid. I know that. Food.
All kinds of cuisines I'm going to try in my lifetime in each and every country. That's my ultimate goal.
Including a snake.
So that's something I'm keeping up. But yes, if come to it, and if I really think that that is one last thing left, I might just give it a try. My husband wouldn't be very happy with it, but yeah.
Oh, wow, what a courageous girl. Next word, friends.
Life of full of happiness.
Family.
Here I would mention my extended family, my husband's side. Closure. They all give me so much closure.
Last word, Chaitrali.
Everyone's favorite. At least
Wow.
that's what I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, since we started this little game where you talked about Coffee with Karan, there is this beautiful movie that he made, which is, for various reasons, I like it. It has this, the movie is called Kal Ho Na Ho. I'm sure you would have seen it too. There is this
Of course.
beautiful song sung by Sonu Nigam. हर घड़ी बदल रही है रूप जिंदगी, छांव है कभी कभी
Yes.
है धूप जिंदगी, हर पल यहाँ जी भर जियो, जो है समा कल हो ना हो. Would you want to sing this song for me right now?
So just a tiny bit. I have learned classical singing, and this was one of the songs which I attempted as a kid. So wow, like this next level sixth sense which is going on between us is it's just going up a notch every time we talk.
Give it a go if you remember those lines.
Yeah. Okay. हर घड़ी बदल रही है धूप जिंदगी, छाव है कभी कभी है धूप जिंदगी, हर पल यहाँ जी भर जियो, जो है समा कल हो ना हो.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
You made my day, Chaitrali. Thank you so much for this beautiful song, and thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Love to hear from you. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you saying to yourself right now?
It was great connecting with you. I would love to thank Asha auntie, because I caught her eye, and I came running to her that day. So yes, and it has been wonderful. This is my first podcast, and I didn't know I could do this also. This was the first thing which at the end of this conversation struck me, that oh, this is something I attempted and hopefully I didn't do bad. So yeah.
No, you are great in not only this, but everything that you have done, and I'm sure everything that you will do going forward. I'm sure you will do great. Just surprise yourself all the time and enjoy being the fun-loving orthopedic that you are, Chaitrali. So thank you very much. Wish you good luck.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75@gmail.com. Thank you.